Hey, this is Evan Marcoux, dating and relationship coach for smart, strong, successful women, your personal trainer for love. Welcome back to the Love You podcast, where you can learn everything there is to know about dating, relationships, sex, and men from a man's point of view. I am thrilled to be back. I think this podcast has been on a roll. I am not an objective observer. I will be the first to admit that. But I've really been enjoying doing this recently, a combination of guests and insights that I gleaned from coaching. And I hope you've been enjoying the ride as well. If you have been enjoying the ride, please subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, leave us a positive review or a comment. It means the world. I read everything you write. I do respond when I have an opportunity. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So take the time to do that. Thank you. I'm also excited to announce the success of my second installment of the Extraordinary Love Series. Extraordinary Love Series is a free monthly lecture and Q&A that I do the third Wednesday of each month. The other day we did the three biggest blind spots that women have in dating. There were over 300 people registered. Next month will be even bigger. The topic, how to identify and attract emotionally available men. You do not want to miss that. So go to www.extraordinaryloveseries.com to register or click on one of the links in the show notes. And this is another episode where sometimes I just have three bullet points. Today I have a whole script. I have something important that I want to share, something I've been ruminating about for a while. So I decided to organize my thoughts, and it's very specific why you should hire a matchmaker. For years and years and years, this wasn't my public stance. And so I wanted to sort of talk about how I arrived at this conclusion because it's a little bit of a journey and it really shows how people can learn and good people could have blind spots. And in this case, I'm the one with the blind spot. So years ago, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, when blogging was a big thing and I was, I had one of the world's biggest dating blogs, I wrote a blog post about why women might want to choose a dating coach instead of a matchmaker. It was nakedly a personal plug for my services. And my contention was matchmakers have a harder job than dating coaches, and they do. Dating coaches just have to give advice. I will hold someone's hand and help them date with more confidence and optimism and self-awareness. But matchmakers have to take the same exact people and hand them a husband. And that is a very labor-intensive executive search for clients who have high standards. It's what they're paying for, is those high standards. And so that was my public take: is, hey, hire a dating coach because matchmakers have a harder job, and I could do the same thing. So maybe that was, the main issue. But I went to three or four matchmaking conferences as a guest speaker, and I was friendly with everybody. I couldn't figure out how to collaborate with matchmakers because most of them offer some measure of dating coaches or felt that they were dating coaches. And so I would go to these conferences ostensibly to go on business, and I'd have a great time. I went with my wife a couple times to New York City on cruises in the Caribbean and off of Florida. And I would come away with a lot of laughs, a lot of memories, a lot of friendships, and no business. So I stopped going to the matchmakers conferences. And I focused on the things that I could control, which was creating content, coaching clients, helping women date more effectively. In that time, I built and scaled the Love You coaching program and have helped lots of people. And I just kind of kept my focus really, really narrow, like a horse with blinders on, until recently. And that brings me to this present moment and my long-winded mea culpa. So, as you know, if you're a single woman listening to this, online dating has changed materially over the past decade, and not for the better. Dating apps, because they're free, because they're frictionless, are flooded with a lot of junk, and it creates a really challenging user experience for most people. There's a lot of rejection. There's fake profiles and bots and scammers and texting conversations that go nowhere. And a lot of people are kind of burnt out on it, especially smart, successful, busy women. So while I firmly believe that online dating is an important avenue for creating a love life, and most matchmakers agree as well, it is only one channel, right? I've always told people, hey, date online for a half hour a day. That's one thing you can control, and that is true. But as someone who prides himself on being a nuanced thinker, I always looked at matchmaking versus dating coaching as an either or proposition. And in retrospect, that's a blind spot on my part. The same way that diet and the gym are two different ways to approach being healthy and losing weight, so too are matchmaking and dating coaching. But because I was a dating coach who was helping clients get married without matchmaking, I didn't fully stop to consider the virtues of matchmaking. And that's because I was really removed from the industry. And the entire decade that I was removed from that industry, I maintained individual friendships with some of the most successful matchmakers on the planet. And I realized something in talking to them. The best ones are also really good coaches because they recognize that our business, love, is a both and proposition. Right. So they'll do the legwork and vetting to help you meet quality men that you might not be able to meet on a day-to-day basis or be able to meet online. But the best matchmakers also help you to become a better partner. And so over the past 6 months, and you've seen I've done a couple matchmaker interviews on the podcast. Over the past 6 months that I've been talking to matchmakers, I discovered I was missing something fundamental about the whole matchmaking industry, which is why I went to New York City a few weeks ago to attend the Global Love Conference hosted by Lisa Clampett, big networking party by Bonnie Winston, and these are big names in the matchmaking industry. According to the numbers, over 150 people were in attendance. Probably 85 of them were female matchmakers, rather than very few guys and dating coaches in attendance. And I really went into this whole endeavor with wide eyes, a sort of sense of humility and curiosity. I was not a featured speaker. I was just a guest looking to learn more about the best practices for matchmaking. And I got to say, the conference was a revelation. If I had a dollar for every time a matchmaker said the word ethical, I would be able to retire. There was such an emphasis on doing right by clients. So I am doing this podcast to share what I learned about matchmaking that I think you should know as a smart, successful woman. And again, these are bullet points and notes. I don't exactly know what you're going to take from this, but I think it's important that you know that these are hardworking professionals who are really going out of their way to give people an amazing experience and get great results. So one of the first things that I learned was that there's a handful of matchmaking companies that offer online dating concierge services. Now, why I offer a service that I would call a concierge service because it's high touch, where you could email me if you're my private client. You can email me whenever you want, and I'll get back to you. And if you want to log into your accounts and talk about your text messages, like I'll do all that. This is actually done for you. Right. So again, I'm not here to plug any matchmaking companies, but there are matchmaking services that offer online dating concierge services where they're actually, in addition to doing lead generation, finding you people that they are vetting in real life, they're also running your online life, doing the flirting for you, setting up dates for you. Um, and I think that's, I mean, they have like separate phones, separate burner phones where they can log into your account. The level of attention to detail that people are taking to provide full service, I thought was astonishing. I only knew of one person who did that job. I don't want that job of pretending to flirt for you. I genuinely, I don't want to do that. But the fact that there are people who are offering that, I thought was a revelation for the folks who have the means, who have the money, who was like, here, just do it for me, get me dates. I can't, I won't. Uh, and there were two or three companies that I listened to at a presentation who were providing these services. So I just thought that was something you should know. Um, in addition, they had a whole bunch of speakers there, 20, 25 speakers. And the buzzword there was science-based professionals who are helping to train matchmakers to become better coaches. The same way I never put myself out as a matchmaker. Not every matchmaker considers themselves a coach, but they have to do some measure of coaching. And a lot of matchmakers have bought into the idea that it's a useful service to be able to communicate better with their clients, help their women and their men become more confident, self-aware, realistic, better dates, better communicators, etc. And so there was a lot of conversation about coaching at this conference. Furthermore, if you go past the science-based dating coaches, I would never use the word science-based to describe myself, but I guess it's science-based because I'm always reading and pulling from studies. And I don't consider myself a scientist, so I would never say science-based. But there are other speakers who are experts in their field, authors on sexuality, college professors on the art of conversation, attachment styles. So it wasn't just a whole bunch of matchmakers in a room talking exclusively about the business of matchmaking, but it was this really, really expansive view of love and how can we bring more to the table to better serve our clients. So when you've got matchmakers who are understanding sexuality and the art of conversation and attachment styles, they're quite intentionally becoming more like dating coaches. And I think that's a great service that they're able to offer. Um, Probably one of the highlights of the whole thing was how uniquely collaborative the matchmaking industry is. It's not how it works in the dating coaching industry. I think I understand why dating coaches, by their very nature, it would be almost impossible to work with multiple dating coaches simultaneously. But someone could work with multiple matchmakers, and matchmakers can share and collaborate with each other. If you go to a matchmaker and they say, "Hey, I'm not the right fit for you, but I know someone who's the right fit for you." It's almost like there's like an MLS for like real estate. Matchmakers are willing to share their resources and their leads, both their paid and their unpaid clients, in order to help people get a match. So it's I've never seen anything that was so collaborative where the rising tide raises all boats. That was my probably my biggest takeaway was how much matchmakers really collaborate. It was not like this sort of zero sum game. I win, you lose. Everybody in there was kind of paddling in the same direction, and so it had a really really good energy because it was all about the sanctity of the matchmaking industry and dating coaching. There isn't really a dating coaching conference. There's just friends who share their war stories, but for the most part, they're protective of their clients and they're protective of their lists, and it's just a very very different energy. So I really enjoyed being a part of that, just being privy to the idea of collaboration and how we can collectively work together to better serve our clients. Um, when I asked more questions of matchmakers, I discovered that they kind of have a lot of different channels to be able to try to create matches. If they don't have someone for you immediately in their database, they will do online research. They will go on LinkedIn. They'll fly to different locations to recruit people. If you're looking for what we call a high value man, right, and it's hard to find in your area, they will literally go get on a plane, go somewhere. And they'll also reach out to other matchmakers and pay other matchmakers who have men who are a better fit. So it really is like this high intense executive search to scour America by any means necessary to find you someone. And I think that's why they do something that's kind of just unique, far different from what I do. A matchmaker, I understand, might spend 15 to 20 hours trying to find you a good match. It's very different than just swiping right on Bumble. Now, they might have a Bumble account to recruit people there too. but they're really, before they present a match to you, because you're paying for the match, they really want to make sure they're doing a good job in getting you what you want. So it's why they'll only give you a limited number of matches over a 6 month term, right? 6 matches, 8 matches, 10 matches, whatever their individual contracts are. It's all because they're really trying to provide quality over quantity. Online dating is about quantity, and you have to sort of sift through. You've heard me say only 10% of guys are worth your time. Matchmakers, right? If they're presenting you with a handful of leads over a term, they really want to make sure that you're happy with what they get and they put in their time to do so. Um, so yeah, my main takeaway and the reason I'm sharing with this with you is that it's an industry of people who really care. Um, there was a lot of emotion in the room, and I like that. It's why I like being a man in an industry of women. It's much more vulnerability, much more emotion, and yeah, a good matchmaker is going to charge a pretty price, but that's because they have a done for you service. The difference between being a contractor to build your own house or hiring a contractor to build your house. So while my business proposition has always been if you hire me, you don't need to hire a matchmaker, I've belatedly realized that that is a very limiting worldview. Without negating what I do, there are women who are better suited to working with matchmakers than are suited to working with me, particularly women who have a lot more money than they have time. So, of course, there are people who are in the position to have the best of both worlds, to have someone doing an executive search for your future husband and also learning best practices for how to date with confidence and raise your relationship standards and choose wisely and communicate in a healthy fashion, right? So these are overlapping circles, right? But as someone who's constantly helping women to think more abundantly and expansively, it's actually been really humbling to realize that I've been too close-minded over the years to see the number of matchmakers who are doing really good work, acting with integrity, making a difference. And now that I've had an opportunity to meet with all the biggest names in the matchmaking industry, I am very glad to be able to make recommendations to you. Because if you're listening and you're a smart, strong, successful woman and you don't really want to do dating coaching, I'm not here to convince you that you should do dating coaching. I'm here to steer you to the optimal outcome because we have a relationship and you've come to trust me. So if you want a referral to a matchmaker, I created a page for you. Just go to www.evanmarckatz.com/matchmaker, fill out a short application, book a time with me. We'll talk for like a half hour. I'll get to know you a little bit. And I will do my best to refer you to the best matchmaker to meet your needs so you don't have to do a whole bunch of online research. That is my promise to you is really I'm here after coming back from this conference to figure out how I could be more abundant, how I could be more expansive, how I could help more people and meet them where they're at. And I'm really, really excited to do so and get more women into happier relationships on your terms. So thank you for taking the time to listen. I look forward to speaking with you soon. My name is Evan Marc Katz. This is the Love U Podcast. If you enjoyed today's podcast, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Leave us a positive review. If you want to get on my mailing list and you're not on my mailing list already, go to my website, take my quiz, www.evanmarckatz.com/quiz to discover if you're wasting time on the wrong men and if you're ready for coaching. And you have been listening for a while and thinking, I like this guy. I think I want this guy in my corner. Go to evanmarckatz.com/now. Book a time to speak with me, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for listening to the Love U Podcast, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.